Hare Krishna, everyone, and welcome back again to our series on the glories of our beloved Sri Vrindavan Dham. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. All glories to Prabhupada. So we are continuing with our mini-series on Stimulation for Ecstatic Love, based on chapter 26 of Srila Prabhupada's Nectar of Devotion, and this will be part 94. As we've mentioned before, we have discussed numerous items listed in that chapter that act as a stimulus for love of Krishna. But interestingly enough, we have yet to discuss the very first item mentioned by Srila Prabhupada there in that chapter. He writes as follows: some things, he begins, which give impetus or stimulation to ecstatic love of Krishna are his transcendental qualities, his uncommon activities, his smiling features, the periodical occasions for remembering him, etc. So the very first item of stimulation listed there is Krishna's transcendental qualities. And that will be the subject matter for our next few classes. And how many qualities, transcendental qualities, will we cover? Well, we could go on forever. For Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 2110 says, the spiritual qualities of Krishna are unlimited. Great personalities like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the four Kumaras cannot estimate the spiritual qualities of the Lord, unquote. So we could just do 64 qualities for, again in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 2369, we hear, and we quote again, the transcendental qualities of Lord Krishna are unlimited, but out of these, 64 are considered prominent. The ears of the devotees are satisfied simply by hearing all these qualities, one after the other. But if we lectured on the 64 qualities of Krishna at the rate we're going in this series, we're in the 90s, it could take many, many months. So I decided we'll just focus on 4 of these 64 qualities. 4 qualities that are most prominent and serve actually to distinguish Krishna from even his own expansions, like Lord Narayan, for example. As many of you know, it's said that Lord Narayan has 60 of those qualities, but Krishna has 4 more. They're described as wonderful, beautiful qualities that set him aside as the supreme personality of Godhead, the fountainhead of all other incarnations, avatari. And what are those 4 special qualities? They're listed as, number 1, Krishna is the performer of wonderful varieties of pastimes, especially his childhood pastimes. Number 2, he's always surrounded by devotees endowed with a wonderful love of Godhead. Number 3, he can attract living entities from all over the universe by playing on his flute. And number 4, he has a wonderful excellence of beauty that cannot be rivaled anywhere in the creation. Now, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes these same outstanding qualities of Krishna in a very poetic way. In the 13th chapter of his book, Jaiva Dharma, he writes the same qualities but very poetically. He writes, apart from these 60 transcendental qualities, Sri Krishna has an additional 4 transcendental qualities, which are not manifested even in the personality of Sri Narayan. They are, number 1, it's very beautiful, Krishna is like an ocean filled with the waves of leelas that evoke wonder with everyone within the three worlds. Number 2, in his activities of conjugal love, Krishna is always surrounded by dear devotees who possess unequaled love for him. Number 3, Krishna attracts the minds of all the three worlds with the melodious vibration of his flute. The personal beauty and opulence of Krishna are beyond compare. No one is equal to him, and no one is greater than him. Thus, the personality of Godhead astonishes all living entities, both moving and non-moving, within the three worlds. He is so beautifully attractive that he is called Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So, although the pastimes, obviously, of Lord Narayan are amazing because, well, he's Krishna, an expansion of Krishna. Krishna's pastimes are even more amazing. I was thinking of an example. Like Lord Narayan, Krishna frees demons from sinful reactions by mercifully killing them. But death at the hands of Narayan merely sends the demons to heaven, or in some special cases to Vaikuntha. But when our Lord Krishna kills demons, he gives them the opportunity for eternal service in Goloka. You take Putana, for example. We know she smeared poison on her breast, intending to kill Krishna, but because she had assumed the role of a nurse, or sometimes described mother, Krishna granted her the position of mother in Goloka Vrindavan after killing her. Now, what is interesting is that although these four qualities mentioned are listed separately, they still have something in common. And that is, they're all about loving relationships with Krishna, particularly these four qualities. They're about loving relationships with Krishna. And specifically, what type of loving relationships? Braj Bhakti. The love of the residents of Vrindavan for Krishna, and Krishna's love for the residents of Vrindavan, because love is reciprocal. This is the highest love. And according to Shastra, it's even higher than the love in Vaikuntha, the official kingdom of God, where the residents there love Vishnu or Narayan in the mood of Aishvarya Bhav, meaning literally awe and veneration. But Krishna says, Aishvarya sanate shaba jakata mi shrishta. Aishvarya shtila preme nahi mora prita. Very famous. Knowing my opulences, the whole world looks upon me with awe and veneration. But, Krishna says, devotion made feeble by such reverence does not attract me. All glories to Sri Vrindavan Dham. So today, let us discuss the first wonderful distinguishing quality of Krishna, again, namely, he is the performer of wonderful pastimes, especially his childhood pastimes, In Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.47, Sukadeva Goswami says, quote, Krishna's childhood pastimes are so magnanimous and so great that simply chanting about them vanquishes the contamination of the material world. And that's what we're doing right now. And Jiva Goswami, Srila Jiva Goswami, writes so beautifully in Gopal Champu 1.8.68 as follows. I adore the childhood years of the darling of Braja's women. During this time, Krishna's dark blue body was very effulgent, and the bells around his ankles and waist made a jingling sound, cling, cling, cling. He writes that. He delighted everyone with enchanting, crawling movements, the same crawling with which he later dragged a mortar with the sounds of kara, 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 and effortlessly uprooted two Arjun trees. As the trees made a loud, cracking sound, he curiously looked behind himself and smiled. Thank you, Jiva Goswami. Now, the origin of Krishna's childhood pastimes is described by Sutta Goswami in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, chapter 8, as follows: that Drona, he's described as the best of the Vasus, along with his wife Dara, desiring to have the Supreme Lord as their child, this is history, approached Lord Brahma and said, please permit us to be born on the planet Earth, so that after our appearance, the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, the Supreme Controller and Master of all planets, will also appear and spread devotional service, the ultimate goal of life. Thus, those born in the material world may easily be delivered from the miserable condition of materialistic life by accepting devotional service. So Lord Brahma said, yes, let it be so. And then Bhagavatam describes, then the most fortunate Drona, who was equal to Bhagavan, appeared in Brajapura, so beautiful way of describing Vrindavan, appeared in Brajapura, Vrindavan, as the famous Nanda Maharaj, and his wife Dara appeared as Mother Yasoda. So we're getting the historical references here. Then Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.51 states, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead became the son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, they maintained continuous, unswerving, devotional love in parental affection. And in their association, all the other inhabitants of Vrindavan, the Gopas and the Gopis, developed the culture of Krishna Bhakti. So of course, many devotees are familiar with what became from that Krishna's childhood pastimes, if only because, isn't it, we all celebrate them in ISKCON during the month of Kartik each year? Each evening we gather in our homes and local temples and we sing the Damodar Ashtakam. It's coming up soon, which glorifies Krishna's childhood pastimes. Also, I remember I gave a series of lectures about Lord Damodar's pastimes in these Vrindavan lectures in 2021. So I won't repeat those exact pastimes, those childhood pastimes. Rather today, we'll actually go a little deeper and see these famous childhood pastimes through the eyes of several great saints, like Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Karvikarnapura, and Srihari Suri, whom I've quoted many times from his commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam. All their commentaries are valuable because they reveal many of the deeper meanings behind Krishna's pastimes. This is important for someone ignorant of the Lord may pass Krishna's childhood pastimes off as, I don't even like to say it, but simply bedtime stories for children or mythology or something. But no. The Brahma Vaivarta Purana, in the section called Krishna Janmakanda, it's chapter 21, verse 1, says, again I quote, the childhood pastimes of Krishna are filled with deep meaning and are most dear to him. Krishna would wander around Gokula with his cowherd friends, enjoying various playful pastimes. So this is absolute reality. This is absolute truth. Krishna's pastimes are absolute truth, not relative truth like in this world. So, again, from the historical point of view, Krishna's childhood pastimes began immediately after he got his name from Garga Muni. Acharya say like that. His childhood pastimes began immediately after he got his name from Garga Muni. The Srimad Bhagavatam describes those pastimes, those particular pastimes, in Canto 10, Chapter 8, beginning verse 21. This is verse 21. After a short time passed, both brothers, Rama and Krishna, meaning Balaram and Krishna, began to crawl on the ground of Braja with the strength of their hands and knees, and thus they enjoyed their childhood play. Simple enough. But here, Harisuri, in his commentary, explains, how could you say, the secret behind Krishna's crawling. He writes, Krishna was thinking, "Dear earth, although you have been immensely harassed day after day by these evil kings, you have not given up your quality of forgiveness. Indeed, you are most forgiving, for even though you are everyone's mother, you tolerate your children stomping on your body through their feet. And you have also tolerated the misdeeds of all these evil kings. For this reason, O earth, you are extremely glorious," Krishna said. For this reason, O earth, you are extremely glorious. Harisuri said he's thinking like this. So Harisuri says that while expressing this thought in his mind, it was as if Krishna was consoling and encouraging the earth by patting her on the back, using his own palms on the pretext of crawling. You know, he's going like this. He's patting her on the back, using his own palms on the pretext of crawling. What a beautiful insight. Now in Padyavali, text 147, our beloved Sri Rupa Goswami analyzes some of Krishna's antics with his beloved mother, Yasoda Mai. He writes, one day Krishna saw his father, Nanda Maharaj, worshipping Indra. Krishna asked, "Baba, who is Indra?" Nanda Maharaj replied, "You don't know, my son? He is the king of Swarga, heaven." So that night, Krishna started dreaming that he had become the new king of heaven. Rupa Goswami describes, Krishna is sleeping. Considering himself as the king of Swarga, Krishna was talking in his sleep as follows. "Shiva, welcome. Sit down here by my right. Brahma, you sit at my left. Kartikeya, auspiciousness to you. Indra, happiness to you. Kuvera, I did not see you. Is everything okay?" So hearing this talking, Rupa Goswami goes on, Mother Yasoda got anxious and said, "Child, what nonsense are you saying?" Then she immediately made a loud noise. Tu! It's a T-H-U, tu. It's the noise of spitting for preventing any ill omens. That's how he describes it. The noise of spitting for preventing any ill omens. He goes on, this noise startled Krishna and woke him up. And Rupa Goswami finishes this verse saying, "May this sound made by Mother Yasoda protect you all." May this sound, this special sound, made by Mother Yasoda protect you all. This is in his writings. Now, we move on. In Ananda Vrindavan Champu, it's chapter 5, Kavi Karnapur describes that one full moon night, Mother Yasoda was sitting outside chatting with some elderly gopis, while Krishna played nearby, ever so often glancing with loving eyes at the moon. Krishna was playing nearby, but he was glancing at the moon. And wanting to make sure Krishna was okay, Mother Yasoda sent two of her servants to look after him. And as the ladies sat down, they said to him, "Lala, kim karam, do you want milk?" And Krishna replied, "No." So the gopis said, "Krishna, kim uttamam dadhi, kim uttamam dadhi. Do you want fine yogurt?" Krishna replied, "No, no." Then the gopis said, "Krishna, kim kur chikava, kim kur chikava. Do you want thickened milk?" And Krishna replied, "Not at all. Then the gopis said, then what do you want? Krishna smiled and said, I want a big ball of butter. I want a big ball of butter. So one of the gopis said, then I will go into the house right now and bring you a whole tray of your mother's most delicious butter. But Krishna stopped her, and with another emphatic, no, I don't want that. The gopis got confused, and they said, "What? But whose butter do you want?" Krishna replied, no one's. Then pointing to that moon, remember he was looking, he said, I want that butter. Looking at the moon, I want that butter. So all the gopis started laughing and jokingly said, little boy, that's not churned butter. And they said that that's a royal white swan gliding across the lake of the sky, gliding across the lake of the sky. But whatever it was, butter or not, Krishna, he wanted the moon, he wanted that moon. So he said, then give me that royal swan so I can play with it. Catch it before it quickly swims away. And then working himself into a frenzy, he started kicking his feet on the ground and shouting, get it now. So hearing Krishna's tantrum, some of the other gopis, they tried to pacify him. They said, Lala, please don't cry. Those other gopis were playing with you. That's not actually a royal swan, but the moon in the sky. It's called Chandra. So undaunted, Krishna replied, then give me that Chandra so I can play with it. I want it right now. Get it. So by this time, Krishna's antics had become too much for these gopis to handle. So they brought Krishna to Mother Yasoda, and they explained everything that had happened. So it's described, holding her crying son in her lap, Mother Yasoda spoke very sweetly into his ear. Lala, what you said first was correct. The moon is actually freshly churned butter. She's trying to pacify him. But I cannot give it to you. The moon looks very tasty, but it actually has deadly, poisonous spots on it. So no one can eat it. So this intrigued Krishna. He calmed down and he said, Mother, why are there poisonous spots on the moon? And Mother Yasoda replied, Dear one, there is an ocean of milk in the universe. But before she finished the sentence, Krishna interrupted and said, Mother, how many cows does it take to get enough milk for an ocean? So Mother Yasoda, she laughed and said, the milk ocean was not made by cows. So Krishna looked into his mother's eyes and said, Mother, how can that be? How can there be milk without cows? So Mother Yasoda answered, the one who gave cows the ability to transform grass into milk can also make milk without cows. So Krishna seemed satisfied, but he was still curious. So he said, who is that? So lowering her head in respect to the Lord, Yashoda replied, oh, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although all-pervading, he is invisible to material eyes, and therefore, Lala, you and I cannot see him. So Krishna again looked at his mother, this time with a slight smile, and he said, Mother, is everything you're telling me true? So rather than defend herself, Mother Yasoda cited scripture. Listen, she said, long, long ago, the demigods and the demons churned this ocean of milk. Mount Mandara was the churning rod, and the king of serpents, Vasuki, was the churning rope. The demons and the demigods pulled on the opposite ends of Vasuki. So Krishna asked, did they churn like you and other ladies churn? Yasoda replied, yes, but their churning produced a deadly poison. So Krishna said, Mother, how can churning milk produce poison? I thought poison came from snakes. And Yasoda replied, Lala, poison does come from snakes, but it came from milk first. Mahadev, drank that poison to save the universe. When some drops of that poison seeped through his fingers, the snakes drank it. That's why they are now poisonous. So at this point, little Krishna shook his head in wonder, and Mother Yasoda continued. The moon was also born from the churning of the milk ocean. So it too was touched by drops of poison, which we now see as those marks on the moon. Can you see them? So Krishna looked up at the moon again. He said, yes, Maya, I see them. So Mother Yasoda concluded, that is why we cannot eat butter from the moon. It's poisonous, but we can eat Gokula's butter. We can eat Gokula's butter. Now please take my freshly churned butter instead of the moon. And Krishna nodded in agreement and yawned to show that he was sleepy. And as Mother Yasoda carried her son into the palace, even before she could lay him down on his bed in the room, he had already fallen asleep in her arms, dreaming about an ocean of milk. So the next morning, Mother Yasoda woke Krishna up with a full tray of butter, yogurt, and other treats, saying, Lala, take what you like. But Krishna crossed his arms, looking at his mother, and he said, Maya, I will not eat anything. Last night I was hungry, but instead of feeding me, you put me to sleep with a story about poison on the moon. I was hungry all night, so why should I eat your food now? So Mother Yasoda put the tray down and replied with a smile, if you were hungry all night, then who stole the butter from the storeroom last night? Who stole the butter? Somebody stole the butter from the storeroom. So understanding that his theft had been discovered and that his false accusation had been exposed, Krishna looked away, unable to look at Mother Yasoda. Then he suddenly threw his arms around her neck. The Acharyas say that Krishna embraced his mother as she lovingly held his butter-soft body of condensed bliss. Krishna embraced his mother as she lovingly held his butter-soft body of condensed bliss. And she laughed as he whispered in her ear, Maya, I never steal butter, especially not yours. So one devotee has written, O Gopal, all your pastimes are sweet, but your Makanchor pastimes are especially relishable due to the buttery fingerprints you leave on them after stealing your mother's freshly churned butter. May that divine form of yours, that thrills at the sound of the churning rod and stealthily enters Mother Yasoda's kitchen to steal a handful of fresh butter, protect us at all times. Hare Krishna. Krishna Lila. This is our life and soul, especially his childhood pastimes. Okay, thank you, Prabhus. Yes, actually, I think we'll continue with the childhood pastimes. Of course, there's 4 qualities we want to discuss, but this first one, I think we'll get a few classes out of it. So we'll continue with these childhood pastimes next Friday. Thank you so much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Shri Radha Shama Sundar ki, Vrindavaneshwari Shrimati Radharani ki, Mayapur Dhama ki, Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Krishna Sankirtan Yagya ki, Nitai Gaur Pimanandi Jai Jai Sri Sri Radhe Sharm. Glories